So I just finished Genefather quite recently. So this video is going to be kind of like a pseudo review of how I thought about the book. And overall, straight peak. Phenomenal. Again, as I mentioned in multitudes of different videos, Belisarius Call is easily one of my favorite characters in the entire 40k franchise. And this book, especially the ending, helps solidify it. Let's just get into it. Now, the first thing I want to start off with is just talking about like the theme and portrayal of the book, because it's whole intellectual banter, intellectual conversation slash debating, really, all surrounding the ideology of what good and evil truly is, not just internally but also externally as well, in terms of like how Belisarius Call views good and evil, how Fabius Bile himself views good and evil, and how their ideologies have to clash with each other to really see what like good and evil is not really a thing in 40k, like just in general. Like the ideology itself is challenged consistently throughout this entire book, and I love it about that. And again, like the intellectual banter, just intellectuals in general interacting with each other, some of my favorite stuff in fiction. Moving on from the generalistic stuff, let's tie into the first pivotal character I want to touch on, Primus. Primus in the very beginning was very standoffish, antagonistic, at least to Call's views in that way. But as time goes on, you really see why it is that case, why he has such a problem with Call. He really doesn't have beef with Call. It's just like, he's very irksome, he's very humanistic, which is one of the most pivotal factors of his character. And you find out near the end that the reason this is because Call made him to be that way. The reason he has such a devout, like, love for Call is because he is his son. As Call, I'll also bring this up in the Call section. Like when Call originally was just like, "Hey, Bile, bruh, you don't," it's like, you don't understand what that is. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's just one of your creations." Any scientist would name this their son. He's like, no, that is me, bruh. That is my humanity made manifest. That is my son. I love my son. I was balling. I was like, yo. And the fact that like that all culminates into how Primus interacts, because he felt himself like he had to prove himself to a certain degree. He saw himself inferior and superior in a certain way because Call made him, but like feels like he's lacking compared to other like of his inventions. So when he had to like defend I forgot what the original gene seed, I forgot what it was called, Dominus Probitus or something like that, he decided to opt off, go alone. Ixo, the other like general that was on the ship, was like, "Hey, I can come help you out, bro. Like we could do this together." If that was the case, if his human nature didn't get the best of him, Primus wouldn't have lost his gene seed. And I like how it all ties in. I'll tie it more into Belisarius. Everything that went bad for Call was because of the humanistic nature of who he is, despite his whole ideology or religion being get rid of the flesh, machine is the way. The human spirit, the human spirit is pushed heavily in this book, and I love it. Now, before I get into Call, I want to touch on a little bit of Fabius Bile, because despite him being chaos, his ideology also shined brightly this entire book. Again, going back to the good and evil thing, Fabius knows that the chaos gods are not the way. Like, worshipping them is just as bad as worshipping the emperor. He is completely neutralistic. His one true goal, as he constantly reiterates throughout the series, is repairing humanity, making them stronger, evolving them beyond to what they actually truly deserve to be, at least in terms of his eyes. His new men, Porter, I believe, we get to see all the mechanisms she can do, all the scientific technologies, the advancements that are put into her. It showed like, hey, this is him. Every other like tech head was just like, yo, this is phenomenal work. Belisarius Call itself was like, yo, this is phenomenal work. That's crazy. And it even goes even crazy, like it ties into it even more when Bile is just like, hey, you are something that like nobody's ever going to anticipate. So he used that as his trump card in order to get Primus's gene seed, because Primus himself, absolute monster. They had to weaken Primus because Bile was going to get murked off. If they didn't sneak Primus, Bile was gone. I'm not going to lie. But like, on top of that, he himself feels like he is the salvation to what humanity truly believes, at least in terms of a chaotic sense, because again, his ideology isn't a good ideology. No one's truly good in 40k. He still wants millions of different species to suffer in order to help push evolution, at least in terms of humanity's view. And he's willing to walk through whatever or whoever in order to achieve that goal. But again, the humanistic side, he is good natured in some degree, because as at least in terms of he understands what it means to other scientists in terms of their work of art. This is where him and Call had like a good interaction with each other near the end. Like he's like, oh yeah, I couldn't mark off Primus here, but I understand, like this is such a fine work of art. And then after Call explained that is his son, Fabius literally couldn't bring himself to just murk off Primus. He's like, hey, if you push me to this level, I'll do it. But this is peak right here. I'm not gonna mess it up. And it's just interesting how Fabius balances the Imperium's needs and Chaos's needs in order to achieve his own goal. I think he's a phenomenal character in that regard, especially in terms of his scientific evolutions. And that the whole battle of him being like, oh yeah, I'm better than Call in this like aspect of no matter what. And then he's seeing the gene seed for Primus. He's like, hold up, I was sleeping on Call a little bit. Like the characterization is just perfect. And finally, let's get to my GOAT, Archmagos Dominus Belisarius Call. Every aspect, every ideology that I touched on gets portrayed phenomenally within Call's character. The humanistic nature, despite him being mostly made a machine. We get to see his ambitions and his true goals. I like how we get to see his overall influence in terms of 40K in general. The fact that like he's pushing like the heretic side things a little bit. Like he knows what he's doing. He's very intricate in his wording in order to show that, hey, what I'm doing isn't really heretical. It's just reinventing I won't say reinventing, re-emerging things that were already done by humanity. That aspect was clean. The fact that he knows that, hey, I have so much influence that if I were to make like a distress call to be in like multiple Forge worlds, be like, hey, let's fuck some shit up, they would follow. Like Call literally has the influence that causes a civil war within the Imperium. I also like that. And then I might as well add the interactions with Cuvo, his best friend. And at the end, Cuvo, you get to see him like literally despite being a machine, be a human. Like literally we get to see the transition of his mind being just machine into him natural. It's so natural. Like when you're reading it, you find that Cuvo is really just acting like a normal like dude. And then at the end, when he tells Call, he's like, listen, you have to dismantle me. You have to stop this Cuvo operation. I am your weakness. He again was saying like Omniscience, which is like get rid of impurities. I am your impurity. Call is just like, dog, no matter what, I don't care what my ideology, I don't care what my religion says, I'm not getting rid of you. You soon are going to be a human again. And the fact that Call's like main thing is like he's trying to perfect, like it ties to both of them. They're both trying to perfect humanity to its utmost degree. And the way they're doing it again is through people closest to them, showing again it's the humanistic nature tagging into humanity. It's just perfect writing for real. And I'm gonna bring up the Primus point again, because that is probably my favorite aspect of the entire story. Where after he was dealing with, or he fought the Necron, he was weakened. I wouldn't say he was on his deathbed, but he was severely injured. But the moment he woke up, he was just like, dog, my son is in danger. He stopped at nothing to get to where Primus was. And when he saw like the aftermath of like bile like ripping into him, literally, he was like I think I noted like for the first time in a long time, like Call genuinely felt like defeated, dismotivated, like he thought he lost it all. Like, and the reason again, because of his relationship with Primus. I love that, bro. Someone who's portrayed to be so cold-hearted and machine, like again, has this love, this spark of humanity that not a lot of people in the verse have. Like, this is straight peak. If you haven't read this book, read it. I highly implore it. I don't care if you're not a Adeptus Mechanicus fan, if you're not a fan of Fabius Bile, this is just a good book in general. Get on it.